For the last several weeks, people have been asking, have you heard from Lindsey Williams? Have you heard from Lindsey Williams? Does he have anything new to share? What's going on? Well, Lindsey, I've been talking for the last several weeks, folks. He was getting things in line to get going here. I'm going to kind of just try to shut up and let Lindsey have the microphone. We'll try to get a few phone calls next half hour if you have asking questions. But I would urge you, I would implore you to pay attention. This man is not making stuff up. He's been right when the experts have been wrong. All right? I mean that. Lindsey Williams, welcome to the program.
Pastor Butch, it's a privilege to be on Call to Decision tonight, and I thank you so much for allowing me to be here. All of the listeners out there on your program know that for the past 37 years, there has been some people in high places who have been willing to give me information because I served as a chaplain for 3 years back during the building of the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline. In August, that's right, just a matter of weeks ago, in August, I was told when the financial collapse will take place. Now, everyone, please get your pencils ready because I'm going to tell you exactly what the definition is, and you want to write it down. I'll try to explain it if I can. First of all, what is the financial collapse that the elite are talking about? Now, not necessarily my definition or Pastor Bush's, or maybe even the audience out there, not what your definition might be, but what is it whenever the elites say that there's going to be a financial collapse? A financial collapse in their terms is this: when the banks close and you lose the money that you have in that bank. A bank collapse that the elite are talking about is not a 1,000-point drop in the stock market. That doesn't mean a thing. A financial collapse, as the elite think of it, is not a currency devaluation, even though you may lose 30 to 50%. Or maybe 20 or 60%, who knows? But a currency devaluation is not what they're talking about when they say a collapse. A collapse is not when the price of gold drops $500. That's not a collapse. Now, are you ready for the definition? Here it is. You'll know, and don't ever say from this point on that you don't know when it's going to take place, because the elite told me. Here it is. The collapse will take place after the Affordable Health Care Bill is fully implemented. Let me try to explain some background to this. Many of you remember that I've talked about a gentleman that died about a year and a half ago. His name was Mr. Paugh. He was a senior executive with Atlantic Richfield. And over 4 years ago, I was on the phone with him. He said, "Chaplain, we're going to have this and this and this." And in the course of the conversation, he talked about a health care bill. It had already been thought about. It has never been presented for Congress yet. And in the course of the conversation, he said, "Chaplain, it is not a health care bill." I was amazed. I said, "Well, what is it?" And basically what he said was, this is the final straw. This is the total control of the American people. And this is, first of all, that was the PATRIOT Act, and then the Affordable Health Care Bill. And once they get all of this done, he said they have everything they want to bring in the New World Order. Now, please, I beg of you, everyone in the listening audience tonight, after this program, please go on the Internet to lindseywilliams.net. Now, please, write that down. Not .com, it's .net. Lindsey, Lindsey, Williams.net. And right at the top of the page, you just scroll down a little ways, and you will find the brief of a retired attorney. Now, this man was very well known. He handled many cases. And at his retirement, he read the entire 3,200 pages of the Affordable Health Care Bill and wrote a brief. And honest, I don't know how to put it except to say it's one of the most startling things I've ever seen. This man tells you the major points that are in that health care bill. Please go to lindseywilliams.net. It won't cost you one penny to go there, and you can read for yourself what a reliable retired attorney has to say. Now, after I was given all of this information, I said, I must tell the American people, but I was afraid. Please understand me. These elite have told me things in the past that frightened me. Nothing ever happened like this. I was so concerned until I produced a DVD, an hour and 50 minutes long, entitled Elite Emergency Data. And for nearly 3 months, in fact, a little over 3 months, I did not do a single radio show. And I'll admit to you, I was afraid to. Pastor Butch, tonight, right now, on Call to Decision, is the first time some of these things have ever been heard. Why? I wasn't willing to tell them. Now, keep in mind something. I trusted Mr. Fromm years ago when he was living. I trusted him explicitly. He never told me anything in 27 years that it didn't happen exactly like he said it. The elite friend that I have now, since Mr. Fromm has passed away, you learn to trust a person over the years. And when this person told me this, my elite friend now who is in his 70s, I was afraid to tell it. Now, I've established a credibility over these many, many years, and I did not want it destroyed, and I didn't want to tell anybody something that really wasn't true. And I'll admit, I was so frightened when I was given this because it's going to affect the lives of every person in America so much until I had to wait to find out if some of the things that he said was going to happen really took place. And I did. I did no radio shows for over 3 months now. I didn't say a word about this. I want to tell you what happened. You need to write these down. The first proof that I had that this man was right in what he had said was on September the 18th, Mr. Bernanke, do you remember? Everybody was expecting Mr. Bernanke to say that quantitative easing was going to taper. He didn't. He came out and said the exact opposite. He said no tapering. Now, let me tell you why this is so important. If Mr. Bernanke had said we're going to taper quantitative easing, it would have immediately caused interest rates to rise. That would have collapsed the derivative market. And what this man told me would not take place within the timetable that he told me it was going to happen. I go back again and read what you wrote down a few moments ago as to when this is going to take place. So the number one sign I had that he was telling me the truth and was not exaggerating in any way was what happened on September the 18th. Secondly, this is so important. Then came a divine intervention. And many of you will remember that I made a DVD at the beginning of 2012 entitled 2012, The Beginning of the End. And in it, I said that the elite and I were expecting some divine intervention. Well, we had 2 of them. Please, jot this down. Number 1, September the 13th, we were right on the verge. Our president was of going into Syria and wiping out Assad in Damascus. And Mr. Putin stepped in. And folks, I'll have to admit to you, this was divine intervention. Mr. Putin possibly kept Ezekiel 38 and 39 from having its beginning in Isaiah chapter 17 and chapter 40 in the Bible. And if Mr. Putin had not stepped in, there was a very good possibility that the events around Damascus that were explained in those places could have happened. And if so, if it had happened, if our president had gone in there and invaded Syria, then what this man told me could not have taken place within the time frame that he told me. So I had a second indication that what he was saying was true. I want to give you the next one. October the 1st through the 15th. You remember it. Oh, what a dog and pony show we had in Washington, D.C. Every bit of it was a total farce. It was a thorough op from beginning to end. They knew exactly what the outcome was going to be. They created massive debt during that period of time, and we had a dog and pony show over increasing the debt limit that was ridiculous. Now, if they had not put on that dog and pony show, and we had increased the debt limit as they were saying that we might try to, do you realize that, my friends, what he said would not have taken place as he said it? I want to give you another indication. And please, keep in mind, I'm thinking all this through. Should I go on the radio? Should I tell this story? Do I dare give this out? Can I risk my reputation? Here it goes again. We had no October surprise. Now, Pastor Butch, you'll please forgive me. Everybody expected it. I expected it. Everybody thought it was going to happen. We had no riots in October. We've not had any October surprise in October. And the elite have used, please, you need to catch this, and I don't have time to explain this one. The elite have used the electric smart meters that they have put on houses all over America to measure your usage of electricity. They have dumbed you down, every person in America almost. They've been installed on every home in America as far as I know. They've used those things to dumb you down like you cannot believe, to the point that we've had no riots in October. And I told you earlier we were not going to. Now, please think back. I told you that Bernanke would not taper. I told you way back 2 years ago that we'd have some divine intervention. I told you that they were going to do what they did in Washington and push it on down the road. Now, when I saw all these things happen, I said, okay, it's time for me to tell the story.
So we are back, or at least we're talking to Pastor Lindsey Williams. He is doing his best to bring to you the information that he received over the last few months. And I know personally, he called me, it's been 3 months ago, and filled me in. I said, I'm not ready to get on the air yet, Pastor. I'm not ready. I haven't digested it all yet. I don't know how to get it out to people. He said, I'm a little bit afraid. So he told me, and he told you the same thing. Now, I hope you're listening. Now, Lindsey, I have to ask this question. I'll turn you loose again. They said when Obamacare is fully implemented, that's when the crisis starts. Well, of course, they're doing their best to get it totally in place now. It has to be close. It can't be too far off in the future before it happens. A year, maybe, I'm guessing. So it has to be pretty close. What's your opinion on that?
There will not be a financial collapse. Now, folks, please, everybody out there in the listening audience, I hope you're catching this. This is so important. They know what's going to happen. They've already planned it behind closed doors. They know everything is going to take place. The collapse will not, I hope you're catching this, the collapse will not take place between now and January the 1st. You've got time to do something about it. The collapse is going to take place. It probably, Pastor Butch has kind of said a year to a year and a half. I would say that, yes, that's a pretty good estimate, a year to a year and a half, maximum 2 and no more. Now, keep in mind what the definition, according to the elite, that a financial collapse is. It might be a little different than what your definition is. So, yes, but you cannot wait. Now, let me show you how they're going to do this. The elite will collapse the currency, and they will close the banks. Did you catch this? It is going to happen. It's already planned. They know an approximate date. But they've told me what's going to happen in between now and then. How will they close the banks and collapse the currency? They did a test case. Please write these dates down. You need to go back and look this up. On June the 19th, 20th, and 21st, the elite used the test case to find out how they can collapse the currencies of the world. You heard me correctly. All over the entire world, every currency at the same time is going to go. At the same time. And on June the 19th, 20th, and 21st, Mr. Bernanke, on the evening of the 19th, just after the markets closed, he said, we're thinking about the possibility of tapering quantitative easing. It set off a storm. Now, I'm going to use some words here. I hope you'll understand them. If you don't, go to your financial advisor and they'll tell you. What is the 7-day repo rate for banks? It usually is somewhere around 3.3%. That's what banks do business overnight and amongst themselves, and that's pretty much of a standard rate. By the next morning, it had gone up to 8.26%. By that night, it had gone up to 12.33%. The ICBC Bank in China actually became illiquid. In other words, it ran out of liquidity on the evening of the 20th, and it looked as though there was going to be a total financial collapse. My elite friend was telling me, he said, Chaplain, it's not going to happen. We'll straighten everything out by Monday morning. They ran a test, used you as a guinea pig to figure out how they can collapse the global derivative market. And I want to tell you how much it suffered. Because of the test that they made on those days, within 1 week's time, the global derivative market suffered a staggering $300 trillion in losses. You heard me correct. I didn't say billion. I said trillion. And the Federal Reserve of the United States, lost $151 billion in bond values that you are responsible for as a taxpayer just because the elite were using a test to see what they could do in order to collapse the derivative market. And a man came out with it, and when I read what he said, you can find it on the Internet. Please go and look up what a Mexican billionaire said. His name is Hugo Salinas Price. I have to read you something that he said, and when I saw this, I knew that everything my elite friend had told me was the truth. He said, I think we're going to see a series of bankruptcies. Folks, that's the understatement of the year. You're going to see the big ones bankrupt. I think the rise in interest rate is a fatal sign which is going to ignite a derivative crisis. This is going to bring down the derivative system $1 quadrillion. Did you catch that?
Wow.
Not trillion, $1 quadrillion of derivatives. Most of them are related to interest rates. The spiking of interest rates in the United States, which would have happened, by the way, if Mr. Bernanke had started tapering.
You cannot be a ward of the state and be a free individual. It's impossible. It's impossible. And Lindsey said this dog and pony show took place in Congress a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago. It's absolutely true. I played a clip for you of Rand Paul, a supposed freedom lover, telling Mitch McConnell on microphone, what a moron, saying that we'll make it look like we tried something, they won't compromise. Now, this is what he said. Watch for yourself. Go to PastorButch.com. PastorButch.com. Look under the headings about halfway down the page. You'll see some headings on the left. You'll see church news and health news. Look under government cover-ups. And you'll see Rand Paul saying, we'll make it look like we tried. This is absolutely a complete setup. Lindsey, go ahead. We'll get phone calls on about 10 minutes. Go ahead.
4 days ago, Thursday, October the 17th, Chase Bank. Now, Chase Bank is the largest bank in the United States of America. Chase Bank, on October the 17th, just 4 days ago, I hope you caught it. If you didn't, please go and get it. Chase Bank sent out letters to every business account that they have, and they said that they were going to limit cash withdrawals, and after November the 17th, they would ban international wire transfers. I saw that, and I was horrified. Now, to the average person, it probably didn't mean much. Chase Bank is preparing themselves and preparing their bank for the financial collapse, and this is one of the big steps that they had to take. Now, let me try to explain why this is so important. Limit cash withdrawals. If some people saw the collapse coming, they would immediately raid the banks. They have already sent out messages to their business customers that their withdrawals will be limited. Now, wire transfers, why is it so important? I was at probably the most prominent gold dealers in the Phoenix area the other day, and we were talking about how this would affect them. Now, let me try to explain it. This gold dealer said, we get gold from everywhere in order to sell it to our customers. We may get it from England. We may get it from South Africa. We may get it from Switzerland. They said we order gold on a daily basis in order to meet the requirements of our customers who are purchasing. They said that after November the 17th, we will not be allowed to make wire transfers outside of the United States of America to pay for this gold, and the only gold we'll be able to get is what we can get right here within the United States of America as a gold dealer. Folks, do you realize how important this is? Do you know that they're not going to outlaw gold, and they're not going to tell you you can't buy it. They're just going to make it unavailable because your gold dealer now is not allowed to make a wire transfer to go and buy it. You must know something else, too. Please, folks, I beg of you, before January the 1st, there are certain things you have got to do. Just because you heard Pastor Butch and me refer to the possibility a moment ago that the collapse is going to be a number of months off, you can't wait until January the 1st. Folks, in my DVD, Elite Emergency Data, please please go to lindseywilliams.net. There are two events. I don't even have time to cover one of them, much less two of them. There are two events that are going to take place before the collapse takes place that I have been told about. And both of these events, I show pictures of it. I prove it in my hour and 50-minute DVD, Elite Emergency Data. For the sake of your family and your friends, please go to lindseywilliams.net and read what that attorney said. Okay, what can we expect? Are you ready? I'm going to go through this fast if I can. First of all, the Dodd-Frank bill was put into effect back about, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. Nobody found out until just recently that the money that you have in the bank is no longer yours according to the Dodd-Frank bill. Whenever there's a financial collapse, the bank does not give you your money back. What happens? First of all, according to the Dodd-Frank bill, the bank now owns your money once you put it in that bank account. If the bank becomes insolvent and closes, the first person that's paid is the bank's debt. That's paid first. Secondly, the stockholders of the bank are paid. If there's any money left, you, as a depositor, get your money back. It'll only be a fraction of what you put in there. There are two events that you must know about before this collapse takes place. What can we expect between now and January the 1st of 2014? Please write these down. I don't have time to give you proof of them. You'll see it in my emergency data. Number one, you are going to see before the financial collapse takes place, before the banks close and you lose the currency that's in them, you're going to see a number of major events. Number one, you're going to see confiscation and nationalization of pension funds. Now, this is federal pension fund. This is IRAs. This is 401ks. You're going to see happen in America exactly what happened in Poland. Did you know that this happened about 3 weeks ago in Poland? Out of a clear blue sky without warning anybody, the Polish government said we're going to take 50% of all the private pension fund money, and it's ours. It doesn't belong to you anymore. But nobody rose up in arms. Why? Because they still get that check next week. But a year from now, they may not get it because it'll be completely run out because the government stole 50% of it. The same thing happened in Cyprus and Iceland and Argentina and Venezuela. You're going to see a confiscation of and nationalization of pension funds, federal, state, and you're going to see those private pension funds. Number two, you are going to see a currency devaluation. It's only a matter of time. And it'll happen before the collapse that the elite have said will take place after the complete implementation of the health care bill. And thirdly, the American dollar will lose its status as the world's premier reserve. Did you catch this? Right now, and for many, many years, all the years that you and I can remember, the American dollar was the reserve currency of the world. It is losing its status very rapidly, and you're going to see it lose its status before the collapse that the elite are going to take place after the full implementation of the health care bill. And when it happens, you're going to see skyrocketing prices. Whatever you're going to buy, you need to buy it as quick as you can, because whenever this happens, it'll be too late to go and get anything you want because you won't be able to do it. Folks, you positively must go to LindseyWilliams.net and read what this retired attorney said after reading 3,200 pages of the Affordable Health Care Bill. And when you do, you will see why that Affordable Health Care Bill must be implemented before the elite can come in and bring in their new world order, which is the final nail in the coffin, which they will use in order to bring everybody under the control that they want to bring them under. You have some time. Be encouraged. This should not discourage you at all. It should encourage you. And if you will take precautions and learn the issues, you can save yourself major heartache. But you've got to begin right now in order to be able to do it, because if you don't, you're going to be in grave, grave trouble after January the 1st of 2014, Pastor Butch.
Wow. And before we get any further, Lindsey, tell the folks how to get a copy of your DVD. By the way, I want one also. Please don't forget me, okay?
Okay, you can either go to LindseyWilliams.net, and I beg of you to read that retired attorney. Also go to prophecyclub.com if you wish to, prophecyclub.com. Or if you want to call, please call toll-free during regular office hours, 888-799-6111. Again, toll-free. You'll talk to an American operator, by the way, 888-799-6111. And the title of it is Elite Emergency Data. It only came out a matter of days ago. In fact, I think the first ones were delivered about 2 weeks ago, and you can get yours now. And it tells the two things that are going to happen before the emergency health care bill is in its fully implementation form and before the collapse of the banks and the currency. There are two events that are going to take place that will impact your family and devastate your family more than the closing of the banks. I know that sounds strange, and you can only do it whenever you see it on this DVD, but it's going to, please believe me, it will impact your family more than the closing of the banks and you losing what currency you have in them. You must take some steps now to protect yourself, and you can if you will. Pastor Butch.
Okay. All right, folks, get that number. It's 888-799-6111. I've known Lindsey now a lot of years, this has been the most important news he's ever brought forth to us. And the fact that it's a timetable more or less set. It's not like 50 years away. It's not 10 years away. It's imminent. Whether it's 1 year, 2 years, whatever, it is imminent. The steps that are in place, you're going to see happening after the first part of the year. And that's going to come months away, folks. Not far at all at the first part of the year. So I would urge you, please pay attention. Get a copy of the DVD. Watch it. Share with your friends. Make copies of it. It's not copyrighted. Share it with everybody you can. Maybe you can save one person, a lot of misery. Let's go to the phone lines like I promised. We're packing up almost pretty quick here. Let's go to Dave in Texas. Dave, come on in. About 1 minute per caller here. Go ahead.
Good evening, Pat. Good evening, Pat. It's good to talk to you and Lindsey again. Very quickly, I have a question for Lindsey. What do they plan to replace the dollar with if they're going to take it away from the reserve currency first, and quickly, very second? What if the collapse starts to happen? What if it goes like an avalanche, like a snowball, and even they lose control of it, and they can't guarantee even they get the type of collapse that they want, where it could wipe everyone out, even them included? How can they guarantee themselves that won't happen?
Okay, good questions. Go ahead, Lindsey.
Well, first of all, they're going to go to a one-world currency. They're going to bypass individual currencies. At one time, you heard about the North American Union. They've bypassed that altogether. They realize that what they're going to do, they have to do it. And they will come to a one-world currency that will be backed by gold and silver. As far as riots are concerned, I made a statement a moment ago. I hope you picked up on it. I didn't have time to explain it. They have dumbed you down, and they've used something that you never expected. You know that smart meter that they put out there on your house in order to tell you how much electricity you use every month? Do you have the slightest idea of the microwave radiation and what that microwave radiation is doing to your brain? And do you know that those meters talk to each other between 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and affects the melatonin in the center of your brain? And is dumbing you down to the point that you don't want to rebel against them, but you'll accept the New World Order. I would highly recommend that you do some research on that smart meter they put on your house, because they have intentionally taken measures in order to keep you from rioting. I go back to it again. I know this is different than what a lot of people have to say about it. They do not want riots. They'll do everything to keep away from having them. If they do get them, they already have everything in place. They have the ammunition they've already ordered. They know what to do, but that's not what they want. They want to dumb people down to the point that whenever they get ready to bring in the New World Order, they'll be able to do it their way.
Or they lose financial control.
Well,
where everything crashes, they lose the value of their own investment.
Yeah, let's go off the air and listen to Dave. Well, Lindsey, what if they lose control themselves and can't control the fall? What if it devastates them also? Is that possible?
Well, they're not losing anything whatsoever. The elite already have everything in place to the point that they're not making any losses for themselves at all. The banks may close, but who cares? That's just a bunch of stockholders. Can they lose control of it? No, because whenever the currency devalues, keep in mind, You've got a devaluation of the currency coming probably before this happens. The average American is going to be so broke and so in debt that whenever they bring in a new currency, you'll be glad to get it just to be able to have something to go to the grocery store and buy food with. You're not going to rebel against them. You're going to say, oh, my goodness, this is back with gold and silver. This is what the American dollar should have been back with 3 years ago. And the average American is going to fall for it hook, line, and sinker. Okay.
MJ in Illinois. MJ, come in, honey.
Pastors, I had two quick questions. One, with the health care bill, I know that some of the corporations they were deferred until January of 2015. Now, when you say once it's fully implemented, are we going by that date or, like you said, the 2014 date?
They're going by the implementation that will take place after the corporations also are required to take part in it. That's the reason that I say that you've got a period of time here in order to get your house together. And people who know the issues can do that. You're right. Mr. Obama delayed it for the corporations or the big businesses to 1 year. The individuals must take part in it by January the 1st. Well, must. That's something else. But
okay,
the implementation that they're talking about here is after that date.
Okay, one last thing, and I'll listen off air. Is it more beneficial for us when we prepare to live in some kind of bunker or some closed shelter versus being in our homes once the collapse happens?
Okay, good question. Means go ahead and answer
you must, as quickly as possible, get the house mortgage paid off. The one thing that they'll want to do is foreclose and then rent it back to you so they have full control of you for the rest of your days. If at all possible, you must get into a paid-for dwelling without a mortgage over your head.
And as far as preparing yourself for the bunker, I don't think so. Get your house in order with food, stored food, a water filter, guns, and ammo. I'm serious. But most of all, get your house in order with Christ, folks. That is vital. That is beyond anything else. All right, let's go to Mick in New Mexico. Mick, come on in.
Hey, Butch.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure if you heard that Case Manhattan got herself in a real ringer there in California. Hear about that?
Who did what now?
Case Manhattan. They're in trouble.
No.
Oh, boy, they're being defined. Not very heavy. Right now, on their records, they're $88 trillion, or so they say.
Oh, wow. Well, now that could happen.
And that's all hypothetical, man, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Then we go to the other part. China, they might own some of our debt. Problem is, they owe us about 3 times the amount, okay?
Okay.
So, more or less, that's another trying to cut their, throats.
Well, when this collapses, as Lindsey said, it's going to happen worldwide at one time.
Yeah.
So the debt part, forget it. We're going to be equally broke. That's what it is. We're going to be equally broke. Go ahead, very quickly.
Then there's a lady out there, Karen Hughes. Karen Hughes, if you ever heard of her, she was a lawyer, and she was filing charges against these federal, some of the foreign banks for doing some illegal things.
Okay, all right. Well, good comment. Appreciate it. You know, Lindsey, it seems you made all nations will go broke at one time. We'll all be equally poor, folks. There's not going to be any whose debt will all be equally under the same control. One world currency soon in the future. Walt in Florida, welcome. Hello, sir.
Hi there. This collapse is coming soon. How close does it follow the scriptures? And number 2 question is the great whore mentioned in Revelations represent America?
Well, first of all, it is in perfect accord with the scriptures. Everything that's taking place, you read the book of Revelation, you see the financial collapse, you see the introduction of a man, you see all of these things. I do not know where America is, and maybe Pastor Butch has an idea. I do not know. Let's put it this way. I have not had the elite to tell me where America is in all of this. And believe you me, they have certain committees that study the Bible. They take into consideration
they know
all
the
these
Bible.
Too.
Satan knows the Bible.
I'm not sure.
Good call, Walt. I hate to jump. I've got running out of time quickly. And, folks, America's all through the Bible. Revelation 18 will tell you about America coming up. Mark my words. Let's go next to George in Michigan. George, you got about 30 seconds. Got to hurry.
Yes, Mr. Lindsey. What would you expect if this Unaffordable Act collapses under its own weight or is somehow eliminated completely?
If the Affordable Health Care Act collapses under its own weight, it's going to be one of the greatest blessings that you American people ever saw in your life, and you should work for everything possible to see to it that it happens.
Okay. All right. Good question. Quick answer. All right. Let's go to Karen in Arizona. Karen, come on in.
Okay. I have a question. Will this take place in 2015, and how can we slow it down? And how is this going to deal with the gold and silver that people are purchasing?
Okay, Lindsey, you got about 30 seconds to answer that.
I cannot give a date, but it's a year and a half, maximum 2 years. I don't think it can go much longer than that. As far as gold and silver is concerned, get every piece of gold and silver you can possibly get in your possession before January the 1st of 2014, because the gold dealers aren't even going to be able to buy it unless they can buy it from some other individual. Gold is giving out. The world is running short on it. And it is the one thing that Salinas Price, that billionaire from Mexico, said is the only thing after the dust settles that's still going to be worth anything.
Okay, good call, Karen. Thank you. And folks, don't quote the Bible where it's cast into the street. It says in James, that's for the rich man. You're not a rich man. Use it for protection. That's what I have it for protection. That's why I have a gun, for protection. Let's not be idiots, okay? Let's go next to Charles, North Carolina. Charles, you got about 30 seconds.
Thanks, Paul. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
What happens to these people that finally get into Obamacare and they got this monthly payment of $300 piece? What happens if they don't make a payment and they can't make a payment? Do they still have insurance?
Okay.
I don't have the slightest answer to that, and I don't think anybody else does either. Whenever you read this brief that this retired attorney gave after reading the bill, you'll probably get some answers from that. Keep in mind who it is that's going to enforce all of this.
Yeah, the IRS is going to enforce it. Good call, Charles. Thank you. Lindsey, I'm going to give you about the last 15 seconds, 20 seconds. What do you want to say to people?
Well, first of all, you positively must know the other two things that I haven't even had time to talk about tonight that will be taking place. It has to do with China. And let me just put it this way. I sensed this a while back, and it was definitely verified to me when I was told when the collapse was going to take place. Can you imagine products from China not being able to be brought into the United States of America anymore because China has an internal problem? They had a major problem, if you'll remember, during the dates that the elite were testing to see how they could collapse the markets back in June 1920 and 21. Please go to LindseyWilliams.net.
Folks, call 877-888-799-6111. Get your DVD. Lindsey, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again real soon, brother.
Thank you, Pastor Butch. Lord bless. Good night.